Hey, welcome. So today we are diving deep into something you've probably got sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now. Honey. We all know it's sweet, it's delicious, but it turns out this stuff is packed with some absolutely incredible science-backed secrets. Let's get right into it.
You know, a lot of us think of honey as just another sweetener, right? Maybe a little more natural than plain old table sugar. But is that really the whole story? Well, over the next few minutes, we're going to see that honey is so much more than meets the eye.
So here's our game plan. We'll start by looking at what's actually inside that jar. Then we'll explore its surprisingly powerful role in fighting major health issues. After that, we'll cover how it can boost your daily wellness, help you choose the right kind, and we'll finish up with a really critical safety warning you will not want to miss. Okay, so to really understand honey's power, we gotta go back to basics. We need to know what this stuff even is. It really is a little miracle of nature. It all starts with bees, obviously, collecting nectar from flowers. But they don't just carry it back. They are tiny little chemists. They add their own special enzymes, which kickstarts a process that breaks down the complex sugars in nectar into two simpler sugars, glucose and fructose. It's a pretty amazing process. Now, when you look at the numbers, you might think, okay, yeah, it's mostly carbs, it's sugar. And you're not wrong, but look closer. It's this very specific blend of fructose and glucose. And while there's zero fat and just a tiny bit of protein, the real magic is in all the stuff that's not on this list. All the powerful antioxidants and enzymes, that's where things get really interesting. All right, so let's see how that unique profile translates into some honestly surprising health benefits. This is really where honey goes from being just a food to a legitimate health protector. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds completely backwards, right? A sugary substance that can actually help with diabetes? But believe it or not, the research points to some very specific and very real benefits.
So here's the deal. Unlike refined sugar, which is just empty calories, honey is packed with powerful antioxidants. And studies have shown it can actually help lower blood sugar levels. And get this, for people who have high levels of fats in their blood, it can help bring those down too.
And if you thought that was surprising, well, the research on cancer is just as fascinating. It turns out that some of the compounds found in honey have been shown to actually interfere with the growth of cancer cells. And this is basically how it works. Honey seems to be able to mess with the communication channels that cancer cells need to grow and spread. It's like it shuts down their signal. And what's more, it also appears to wake up the body's own immune system to fight back. It's pretty incredible stuff.
Okay, so beyond blood sugar and cell health, honey also shows some serious promise in protecting one of our most vital organs, the heart.
This is so key. First, it can help make your blood platelets less sticky, which reduces the risk of dangerous clots. And second, it helps stop what's called the oxidation of LDL, that's the bad cholesterol. When that stuff oxidizes, it's a major step towards clogged arteries, so stopping that is a huge win for your heart. All right, we've talked about these big, serious diseases. But what about just, everyday life? Let's zoom in on how honey can give you a practical daily boost. So for anyone who works out, or even just hits that 3 p.m. slump, this is for you. 1 tablespoon of honey has about 17 grams of carbs. But because of that special glucose-fructose mix we talked about, it acts like a slow-burning fuel. In fact, studies on athletes showed honey actually boosted performance better than pure glucose because it provides more sustained energy. And the list just keeps on going. Honey is a prebiotic, which means it feeds the good bacteria in your gut. It's been a go-to for soothing coughs for centuries. And it's even effective for healing wounds because it helps kickstart an immune response to fight off infection right at the source. Okay, so you're probably thinking, I need to get more honey in my life. But hold on, because not all honey is created equal. Let's talk about a huge difference you'll see right on the grocery store shelf.
So here's the bottom line. Raw honey is pretty much honey as it exists in the hive, just lightly strained. Processed honey, on the other hand, is heated up or pasteurized. Now that process kills any potential pathogens and gives it a longer shelf life, but it also destroys most of the beneficial enzymes and antioxidants that we've been talking about. So if you want the full health benefits, raw is definitely the way to go.
All right, before we wrap up, we have to talk about one extremely important safety warning. This is something every single person, especially parents or grandparents, absolutely needs to know. This number is everything. 1. Remember that. Under no circumstances should you ever give honey to an infant before their first birthday. And here's why it's so serious. Honey can sometimes contain tiny spores of a bacteria called Clostridium. Now, these are totally harmless to adults and older kids, but an infant's digestive system isn't mature enough to handle them, and it can lead to a very serious illness called infant botulism. So please, wait until after that first birthday.
You know, this quote really just puts everything into perspective, doesn't it? For thousands of years, long before we had labs and microscopes, people just knew that honey was special. It wasn't just food, it was medicine.
So, from helping manage blood sugar to fueling your workouts to even healing wounds, honey is clearly way more than just a simple sweetener. So the next time you see a jar of this liquid gold, you'll know all about the complex science and the ancient history that's swirling inside. Pretty cool, huh?